Thursday?
Huh?
He took his on Thursday.
Yeah.
I make one book for everybody because of how much paper.
9 o'clock, will you join us for Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forgot my paper. Look at that. First order is to approve the minutes from July 25th.
All moved.
All second.
Moved by Tim, seconded by Don. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next is to approve the minute continuation meeting Wednesday, July 27th.
We did that.
We did that.
We did that last
That
month.
should have been.
We approved both, we approved our regular Monday meeting. All we need to do is August 1st.
Oh, my bad, August 1st.
Those are there for you to
Strike
sign.
those,
You just
okay.
need to sign them.
Okay, I didn't need to sign, okay. I would need to approve the minutes of August 1st. Motion.
We did.
You just
We
did
did.
Oh, you did?
We just
Okay.
did.
I did August 1st.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't let anybody in here bother you.
I had to find out until I had to go across the hall. You can thank William. Okay.
The consent agenda.
Consent agenda. Move to authorize direct the chairman to sign Coffee County payroll notice for Travis Stratton.
How about
Yeah.
this line right there?
Move to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Okay.
I'll move.
Bob's moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. That takes care of everything.
That takes care of the consent agenda.
And Don, you seconded, right?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
You seconded.
Yeah.
Now we'll call on Heidi Harris, Planning and Zoning Administrator, case number SU 2022-02, Development of Natural Resources.
The checklist is in the front,
Thanks.
along with the minutes behind it as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we need to
You vote.
recess.
Wait, can I switch books with you? Because I've got notes in that one.
Sorry.
Thank you.
But do we need to recess from the commission?
This is a hearing, yes. Yeah.
We'll recess Board of County Commissioners. I call agenda number 1, which is a consideration of case SU 2022-02.
We need a motion to go into the hearing. I move we go into the hearing.
Bob moves, we,
Case SU 2202.
At 9:04.
904.
904. Second.
Bob moved, Tim seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, this is the second one I've done, so. I call agenda item 1, which is consideration of case number SU 2022-02, is an application for an establishment of commercial development of natural resources and extraction of raw materials such as rock, gravel, or sand as a special use in A1 agricultural district. before we proceed with consideration of this case, I'll ask the governing body members if any of them intend to disqualify themselves from participating in this discussion because they or their relatives own property in the official notification area, or they have a conflict of interest or a particular basis on this matter. No. Answer is no. Let the minutes show that 0 has disqualified himself or herself. No. 0 disqualified. I declare we have a quorum of 4 present for consideration of this case. Protest petitions. Has the clerk received any protest petitions in this case?
Yes, I have.
Do they consist of 20%, required 20%?
I believe it's all the property owners in the district, right?
Just one that's in the area.
One that's not here, but they all put
Yeah,
in
they all.
protest petition.
So, I have the list of the people and
Okay.
what percentage their properties would be. So, if you wanna tell me who's on it.
Okay, I have, I can't read the first name. Courtney Bartley, Terry Bartley, or Tracy Bartley. Oh, that's Courtney and Tracy, okay. And then John Bourne. John Davies. Claire Wild, or Niles, I'm sorry.
Just Claire and Niles, or Claire and Niles Farms also?
And Claire and Niles Farms,
Both of them?
farming, yeah.
Okay.
Kara Wolford. Timothy Weiss, Melissa Weiss, and Jeff Knight.
Yeah, that's
They have it.
that's over 20%. I can show you the list and how it all worked out, but 20% of the people.
It'll be a three-quarter vote for governing body to approve this case. We have determined that the valid protest petition has been submitted to the clerk. I would recommend the governing body that three-quarter vote is necessary to approve this case. I asked the governing body members if they all have received copies of the unapproved minutes of the planning board meeting July 20th, 2022. Summarizing the public hearing. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All is yes. I call on zoning administrator Heidi Harris to provide us with a report on the case and the recommendations of the planning board.
So, I'm not gonna go over the whole book, but they went over this whole book here on the hearing. The biggest one I will highlight is under correspondence. Under that tab, why it's so big is because of the policy statement. That's part of our regulations. All the requirements are provided for that in there, and it has our quarry operating regulations, which are required for a quarry. So that's why it's so thick there. And the other one I'm going to highlight is under written correspondence. 2 things. Got the safety and compliance regulators in the back. That was provided at the hearing. And this was also provided at the hearing. I didn't put it in the book, but it's their presentation on new homes. So we didn't email it last week, but this can be passed around if you guys like to see it. The board did do a 4-3 vote for recommending approval on this case and placed a couple of conditions on the case if you guys decided to do approval. So, do you guys have any other questions for me?
Is that the closest you've ever had a vote?
Yes, that I can recall.
I know there was a lot of discussion amongst the members of the board. I was here personally, during the hearing and listened to a lot of adjacent landowners not in favor of the quarry. I think they recessed at 11:30 that night, 11:23, something like that.
Yeah.
It was a long night. We go on down to the written communications, is that what we do? Or is that's already been prior to, has it not?
This would be if there's any more written communications that she received.
Is there any written communications or petitions from the public that you've received?
Just the only petition
Just
that I
the
just read
petition.
through.
Okay. Applicant's presentation. Does the applicant wish to present any new information? Are there any questions? Oh. Does the applicant wish to present any new information?
We don't have any new information. I just want to be honest, this is not a typical property we would go after.
Who are you? Would you?
I'm Sam Harshman,
Okay, identify yourself, please. Thank you.
and Mr. Davies and my family, we go way back. So, the long story, the landowner reached out to us, and we thought it would be better for us to bring this before the boards instead of an outside company, because they would more likely be a lot more aggressive than us. Would this property be interesting to us 20 years from now? Yes. But right now, not so much. We have something established.
Are there any questions to the applicant from the governing body members?
So with that said, are you in favor, or are you,
I mean, yeah, we'd be in favor.
okay,
We wouldn't want to move over there and start crushing immediately.
right, but somewhere down the road, you might,
Yeah,
Yeah.
20, 30 years on down the road.
20, 30 years, not gonna bother me.
It's not gonna bother me either,
Yeah.
But, so you're just, in a sense, all you're wanting to do is just kind of put it in place for future.
Right, the
Develop.
landowner reached out to us and said he wanted a quarry. And instead of bringing in competition that would be real aggressive at these meetings, we thought it would be best for us to take control and see if we can get it passed.
So, probably, if this is approved, nobody's gonna see any change on it for a long time then, probably.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So right now, your plans are just to continue to operate the one you have fairly close to it, and not open this one up for
Well,
15 or 20 years? Has it already been core drilled, so you know exactly what's in all those 35
Mhm.
locations?
yeah. To be fair to the landowner, we would need to move on there immediately if approved. I guess it just depends on what stipulations you guys put on it.
Why would you need to move on there immediately if approved?
It's fair to the landowner. We
okay.
don't like tying up people's property.
Okay, I understand now, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Even though you may not do much. still to move on and that may, to fulfill the agreement with the landowner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions?
The current query you have now, it's projected to be to service the rock that the county needs, as well as probably other sales opportunities
Yes.
for 20 years, 15
Mhm.
years, 20.
So, right now, the biggest customer is obviously Coffee County.
Coffee County, we see those vouchers come through, so.
But yeah, we'll supply to any projects in the market area. And from what I know today, I anticipate 25 years of reserves. Could be more, could be less, depending on the economy, weather, all have huge factors.
And this may be a question you don't have a specific answer, but 8 or 9 of the adjoining landowners evidently is voicing a pretty strong opinion against it. And evidently, those questions are probably legitimate, or those concerns are very legitimate about dust, traffic, and everything else. We've all, we got a responsibility to be proactive to work with you. We've also got a responsibility to take a look at these landowners that are against it. So it kind of puts us in a tough place, especially when it's gonna be something that won't be truly developed and expanded for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe what would you be doing on the new land for now? You say you're moving on to it, what does that consist of?
Okay, if you guys approved it with what notes the zoning board put on it, with no other stipulations, we would, move our scales and scale house over to the property, start stripping, uncovering the rock ledge, and establishing a place for our crushing plant to sit. As soon as that would be established, we would move in our crushing plant and start processing.
You have a time frame for that?
Well, after this, I still have to go to, different agencies, get approvals from them and permits, so you're looking just under a year.
There's a comment in here, or a statement in here, where you'll be responsible for removing rock particles from the highway or rock particles from a landowner. How far does the blast carry those particles out?
Well, we put that in there, but.
I didn't know if it's an issue or not, I mean.
No, it's not an issue. The blasting technology has come a long ways. It's amazing what you can do with explosives and control that stuff. But, I mean, in the end, there are explosives. There's some fly rock. We've never had one claim or issue with a neighbor of any concern with blasting or flying debris.
So in other words, the comment in here is just more or less to make the statement that if something does happen, you'll do it. Chances of it happening is basically zero.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody around this area on a water well, or is it all rural water?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Oh,
Exactly.
water now.
Sure.
I would venture to say there is some well water there, but I'm sure their main supply is, I'm just assuming it's right along 50 highway. I'm gonna say they're 99.9% on real water. Livestock water would be your well water.
Don, that fly rock comment they had to put in there was because in our policy statement for rock quarries, they have to agree to that,
I figured it was there because of
because we have that.
an ordinance or statute or whatever you wanna call it. I didn't know how far You know, I didn't know whether we'd throw any out or throw something out 300-400 feet. I know those blasts are pretty well controlled, I'm sure controlled anymore, so.
Any more questions from the board?
Will this this technically won't increase the employment, but your company will it? Because you're either gonna be in one location or the,
Right, it won't increase employment and it won't increase sales of, I mean, we're not gonna be picking up any more customers.
the blasting, and I don't mean to be asking all the questions, but I did go through it, and there's a lot of information in the application. The blasting is gonna take a period somewhere, what, 90, once you open it up, it'd take place over a 90-day period. You blast, what, once a week, once every 2 weeks? So the statement's in here, the blasting would take place over a 3-month period, and I'm sure that's not continuous. Then you line it for 9 months, so.
So what we do, I would refer to this as a satellite location. It's not full-time crushing. So we move in 2-3 months out of the year, we build up our inventory, we move out till piles are depleted, and we move back in. Blasting when we're in there crushing, we're gonna probably blast once a day throughout the work week. But it lasts less than a second.
And in the application, it says that you'll notify all the landowners on every day of blasting. Do you notify them
Well,
Monday or
we'll
blast
notify them
all week?
We can notify them when we're moving in, but we have sirens on our equipment that we set off, and then there's a grace period after the siren, and then we set it off. The shot.
I believe was there a period of time that we were supposed to notify them, isn't there? When we're first doing the seismographs and everything.
I think it states that they gotta notify all the landowners every time they're blasting.
I feel like it was just for a period of time till things were established, if I'm remembering correctly.
Says the foreman or the crew will call and notify them with ample time for the landowner.
I don't think I have any question anymore.
In the policy statement, it drafts just when they are gonna be blasting and crushing.
I'm
And
sorry?
that's on page A2 of the policy statement, at the bottom, it asks them to have in writing what their specific blasting and crushing periods, including frequency and seasonal variations are. That's
What
what
page is that?
A2,
18.
on this one, when you're in the back, under policy statement.
I've got it. The quarry operator shall conduct a pre-blasting survey of all structures located within 1 mile. Pre-blasting survey shall consist of personal visit with each resident landowner within 1 mile.
Yes, and then they have to provide copies of all that to my office, to show they did it. And if any damage were to be done, then you could have whatever was before.
I'm just asking you, if you go in to go to work on Monday, you go tell people you're gonna be blasting that week, to me, that sounds appropriate. I mean, I don't read that as you, every time you blast, you gotta go start driving a mile perimeter circle to inform people of that. I mean, that's just my thinking on it.
I'm in there with my sprayer, I like a heads up though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we always secure the blast area and make sure that if he's out there spraying or swathing or whatever he's doing, that he's not gonna be in the danger area.
And that, I mean, that makes sense.
I don't know if I was clear earlier when I was talking, but if this board approves it as is, our hands will be tied to our contract, and we will need to move in there and start processing. It depends on if you guys wanna add anything else to this.
Any stipulations.
Terms and conditions, other terms and conditions.
Correct.
I think there was 10
Yeah.
from the zoning board already
Yeah.
on there, which is a considerable amount as far as I'm concerned. Is there any other questions from the board?
I don't have it at this time.
Does anyone from the public wish to respond to the applicant's information or provide new information on this case not otherwise presented at the planning board public hearing that should be brought to the attention of the governing body? Please rise, give your name and address.
Courtney Bartley. I own the property at 868 Old Highway 50. We do have a well between the house and the east property line.
Is it supplied for the house?
It pumps to the
only?
cistern every night.
Okay, so you're on well water there?
They're planning to hook to rural water.
Okay.
My son's living there, and they just moved in. So 20 years from now, it does affect my family.
Well, it won't be 20 years, it would be
Right.
within the first year.
But if the stipulation for later down the road,
How will it affect your family?
because my son just moved in there, I don't see him leaving. This property's been in our family over 100 years.
Him living there, how does that affect the rock quarry gonna affect him?
Because he's the
living there?
neighbor.
Yeah,
So increased traffic
I don't like all my neighbors either.
in front of the house, okay? Okay. Increased dust and noise pollution, long-term health effects from the dust and noise. His girlfriend works, shift work as a dispatcher, and so she'll be sleeping during the day some of the time. The new homes, document that you saw is no merit to this one, because as far as I know, there's no new homes going in, and we already live there. We already have an establishment there. And then one of my questions would be, what would be the mitigation process or the conflict resolution? Who's the complaint department when we have an issue?
That'd be Heidi.
And then, I think in your notes from the meeting, there is a bald eagle's nest within a mile of the property. So, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Courtney.
Yeah, that's one of the 10 conditions, is check it out, make sure it isn't an issue for the eagle nest.
Any other public?
Craig Wolford, Carol Wolford's my wife. We own 160 right next to it. We have 2 springs on that property. And those springs provide water for the stock, okay? And the boys know, because we've already talked about this, what's gonna happen when they go to doing their job and it screws up my spring and I lose my water for my cattle. You know, is there gonna be any way that we can redeem anything off of that? Because it's not worth a damn if you don't have water for cattle. That's my biggest concern for over there, and then what it will do to property values of the land with a quarry right next to it.
If that would happen, what's your other source of water to water your livestock?
Nothing.
Purchasing rural water?
Well, Yeah, but that's a cost prohibitive.
I realize that.
Right, that would be the only other way we can get water.
Have you got any other quarries around where there is springs? I know there's parts of this county's got lots and lots of springs in. Have you been around any other springs at your other quarries where it's been an issue?
Yeah, we have
Or do you have it
springs
already
at our other locations. We've never had any issues disturbing them. I'm not saying it's not possible, but we haven't had any issues with it. And say we did go in there and we disrupted the spring, we would work with them and make it right.
If it would happen to shut a spring down, I don't know how it would, I don't know what could be done to refix it, but
We've got,
I know fresh spring water's got a lot of value to a lot of our farmers.
I know we've got, over at Hartford, there were 4 different wells, and these were 2 miles away from the quarry. And these were really good wells, you couldn't hardly pump them dry. And after they started blasting on the quarry, all 4 of them went dry. So, and they were all spring fed from water table, apparently the one underneath the quarry, because when they went to processing rock, they lost all the wells. So that was our biggest concern.
Anybody else?
John Davies. All the landowners surrounding this property are concerned or have a reason not to put a quarry in there. They're all my friends. I'd rather disapprove a quarry. There's also 6 houses around this property. They're within a mile. It's about half a mile, actually. And then the Harshmans have the good people. They're darn good people. They have a existing quarry in here that's operational, and I don't see why we need another quarry that close within a mile. So I would appreciate it if you'd shut this quarry down. That's what I'm saying.
What is the closest house to it?
I don't hear very good.
What is the closest house to the quarry?
Half a mile, well, it's right next to it. There's one, Courtney's got one just west, Tim's got one, just about adjoins the property. There's 2, John Bourne has 2 on the north side. Terry Knight has one on the east side, it's within a half mile, quarter mile.
See, there's,
And you live on the property.
And I live on the property.
John's house is gonna be the closest, it's
Yes.
right there.
yeah, that one house only 300 feet away from the southwest corner.
Is this all Corey's property? Is this all Corey's property?
Yes. I want to get along with my neighbors. You get a quarry in there and they all got concerns. You know.
Well, they've got
I
concerns,
want
or we would receive these letters.
Yeah. We got.
You know, I sit here and hear the same exact concerns today as I heard 2 weeks ago in the zoning meeting. And,
We
the
have,
people are speaking. We need to listen.
well, that's with me, Jesse, but I mean, you guys are the bosses, so you're the determining factor.
No.
There's also a reservoir, sorry, Bob, but
I took it that when this gentleman was talking here, he said he talking to landowner. I thought he was looking at you. I thought maybe you was a landowner that requested it.
yeah, I got property just across the road.
But are you the one that went to him and requested to? No, it wasn't
The
you.
landowner is not
Okay,
present.
it's Corey.
No.
Corey
Corey
so
was
it
the one.
Corey.
Corey, yeah,
Okay.
Corey man.
Okay.
Landowners,
Okay.
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, man,
Thanks, Tom.
appreciate it. Oh, there is a reservoir down there. Frog Creek Watershed has water that backs up on this property.
That's one to the
That
north.
was a big concern,
North, correct.
one of the property owners.
That's the property that's owned by Niles Farm,
Yes, sir.
and it also comes,
It comes back up on this property.
it comes back up, yeah. And the 50-year floodplain, or the 100-year floodplain comes all the way across.
All the way across the property, yes.
Which highly unlikely, but it's.
You never know anymore. I've seen some pretty big floods, Don.
I'd like to see a little flood down south.
There you go. Thank you, man.
Thank you. But there is, if we do approve this, there is an appeals process, right, Heidi?
Yes.
That can go in here after, okay.
Any other public comment? Any other public?
I just say, I'm Melissa Weeks, I live just down the road, and I'll just kind of repeat what Tim said. Over 30 years ago, we bought the Davies house. I have loved that house since I was a little girl, and we moved it, and we had our perfect place in the country. We did not fight the quarry that went across the road, and it's over there and it's dusty. So now when I sit on my porch, instead of seeing the field and the trees, I see a pile of rocks. And I misspoke at the meeting. I said, would you like to have an aquarium in the backyard? It's in my front yard, actually. So now I'll get to see one right here, but I'll also get to see one right here. And it's just, I think it will ruin our property value. And Tim and I, we'll be there maybe in 20 years, but hopefully our kids will. Hopefully one of our kids will. They were born there, raised there. They're pretty sentimental. Tim wanted to get rid of his old 59 Ford, and they had a fit. So I hope that one of them will be there, and they'll want not to see rock piles. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
They pretty much tapped on everything.
Does the commission members have any questions for the public?
I think the letters that was presented to our clerk, plus the presentation here, I think it's pretty well spoken. I don't have any other questions.
I don't.
Bob, you got anything else?
Yeah, and I know it's not gonna be popular, but I'm not the most popular guy around anyway.
Yeah.
Hi, Corey. Hi, Lonnie. Hi, Hoppy. We have a zoning and planning board, and I'm not sure whether there's 11 on it, 7? 9. I was close, 7, 9, 11 of them. And we got them to make these recommendations and all this. And I understand that I've been on some of these before, and I really wasn't in favor of them, but at that time I said, I'm gonna go with the planning board's decision, that's what they're there for, and if we're gonna start overriding them or doing something with them, there's no reason to have them. So I think my theory on this is gonna be, I'm gonna go with the recommendation of the planning board. Of course, it's gonna take more than just me voting on it to do this, but I feel like that if you're gonna make government work, you gotta abide by the rules.
Does the is that it?
Oh, and I look out, I can sit out my front window and look at blinking lights every night. And believe me, I wasn't in favor of those windmills, but I have to look at them. So that's where I'm at with it.
Does the applicant have any further responses to the public comments or any closing remarks?
No, sir.
Very well. Assuming the governing bodies has received all the information they need on this case, I will outline the choices provided under the state statute for governing body action KSA 12-757C. One. Do I go through that, or do you go through that?
Well, I will move to approve the zoning board's recommendation on this.
Bob's moved to approve. All in favor?
And then second.
Oh,
Have to get a second
I got a
first.
second. Bob's moved. Motion will die on the floor, lack of a second.
I fully respect Bob's comments on the planning board. They are appointed and selected. They do a great job for us. And I understand where Bob's coming, you know. Supposedly, we need to follow their direction because of all their exploratory and all their discovery that they've done on all the applications that come across their table. And they do have a lot of applications come in. Their vote was 4-3. So that also tells us that their vote wasn't a 7-0 vote, which is always nice to have, but it doesn't always happen. It sounds like we got plenty of rock in our county currently from the Harshmans to take care of 15, 18, 20 years of the demand. And there's a huge amount of opposition to this, more than I've ever seen before on any of the applications we have to review. Mr. Chairman, with all the information and my viewpoint, if it was gonna be an immediate need to open up and the rock was required to operate the county and operate their sales as they do, I'd probably change a little bit. But I'm going to move to override and disapprove. It takes by a 2/3 vote, move to override the planning board's recommendation, disapprove case number SU 2022-2-02, and describe in detail the findings and factors supporting the motion, and I've already presented the factors that I feel like.
I'll second.
Don's moved, Tim seconded to override and disapprove case number SU 2022-02, seconded by Tim. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Passes 3-1. That meets the majority.
I just wanna say, guys, I understand where you're all coming from, but you understand too. I hate to say it, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you, but if we don't abide by the rules, what good are we? That little lady back there sent me overseas to serve my country, so we would have rules to go by. And when it's a majority vote on something, I've been voted down many a time, but I don't turn around and say no, because I didn't vote that way, that I'm gonna I will go by whatever the majority vote is, so that's why I stayed with the zoning board.
I do know it was a late night, the zoning board, they listened to a lot of talk from the public. It was the closest vote that has ever been, I believe, registered with the zoning board. It was a late night. I appreciate everything that the zoning board has done and will continue to do, and all the hard work. It's a very thankless job.
can you read, closing remarks for this approval, please?
So closing remarks
Yes.
for disapproval.
Yes.
Persons aggravated by the final decision of the governing body on this matter have 30 days after today's action within which to appeal to district court. We want to thank you for your participation in this discussion of this case, and you are welcome to stay for the remainder of our meeting. There is no agenda number 2.
Okay, it would be
Just whatever your next item is.
your next item.
Okay,
So
we
you
have
reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners at 9:40.
we have to reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners at 9:46 a.m. Thank you all for coming.
You get to walk in there.
They're right down there at the
Donut shop.
Best stuff in town.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, Mr. Knight. Hey.
He's hard here too.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We're a few minutes before our 9:50 break. Do you want to take a break? We'll take a break until our 10 o'clock.
So that he's no longer.
Yeah. At 10 o'clock. What are you doing at 10?
Yep.
Okay, so what we're doing right now is a drawing for the election audit. We have to audit the constitutional amendment, 1 federal race, the statewide treasurer race, Kansas House District 76, and County Commissioner 5, all of these Republican. And then we have to also do the state treasurer of another 10% of our precinct. So depending on how this all comes out when we draw today, we may have to draw another couple precincts. So all in all, I think it'll be a total of 3 that we'll draw. So let's start with an all precinct draw first.
Okay.
Big enough bucket.
Yeah.
It's either that or something that your hand couldn't fit into, so we
Yeah.
went with that one.
And so, I don't necessarily have to bring this to you guys to do the drawing, but I feel like it's more better to have an extra person, and that way it's not on you, totally.
And it's open and it's recorded.
Yep.
and-
Yep, so I'm fine with open and transparency, so. I'll let you
Do I get to do the
around.
drawing?
Okay, the first one.
Bucket's deep enough, you don't have to turn your head, I don't think.
Burlington Ward 1?
Okay, so that will
Or is
be
that Wall
for,
1?
it's
Wall
Ward 1.
Oh, Ward 1.
So I need, so this will be on, not in District 5. Okay, so now we have to go to Commission Precincts. This one has all District 5 now, because that's our next one. So you're drawing from Burlington Township, Liberty Township, Neosho Township, and Ottumwa Township.
Doesn't matter how you draw this, it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. I think I got one.
Ottumwa
Ottumwa
Township.
Township.
Okay. And so because we'll be able to use the state treasurer off of this precinct also, we'll go ahead and go back to the all precincts drop of the last state treasurer rate.
I don't like drawing out of a bucket. I don't like drawing.
Like drinking out of it.
Burlington Township?
Okay.
Yeah, I like drinking out of a bucket.
Okay, so next week we will have the canvass, and when you all are a board of canvassers, and we'll go over everything that occurred during the election, all the results of the election, and all the balancing of everything, so,
Next week's an important week.
yes, and we'll do the audit this Wednesday, I believe it is, at 10 o'clock, and, then we'll have that to present to you as well, so,
So we will audit, you will audit those deals, so.
we bring in a board to audit these
Tacoma
precincts
Township and Burlington Township.
and Burlington Ward 1.
All your districts?
Both of them are.
No, they're both of them? Something fishy going on there, Bob.
I didn't have anything to do with it, Jesse.
Yeah. So, well, that's all I have.
That's all you have?
Yeah, and I think, the county treasurer wanted to talk to you.
Okay.
Brenda Kubek was gonna be back up here about 10:15,
Okay.
so if you have something else you wanna address or sign.
We can sign, we've got stuff to sign
We're good
after
to go
I
there,
messed up everything
so-
earlier.
Why she's here. There's waiting, smiling. We weren't waiting on you. This time.
There's always a next time.
Yeah.
We meet every week, sometimes twice a week, right, Wayne?
Yep. Morning and afternoon.
Yep.
Just offhand, you know how many total people we had in the county vote?
Yes, I do, but I
I
can
mean,
get that.
you'll tell us next week, right?
Yes.
It's tight. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you'll get it all.
It doesn't matter. I'm just curious.
Ended up 50% probably, didn't it?
Offhand does not
It
mean.
was about, close to 60,
60%.
62%,
That's
yeah.
huge.
It was over 3,000.
Yeah.
It was over 3,000.
3,323, I think it was.
You know, when you get a mailing list to send out, if you're sending letters out to, and I sent 700 out 2 years ago, 750, whatever, I probably got 12-13% of them back as people have moved, people have no longer. Are those still, technically, are they still in the registration as voters?
If you,
Because Brad said if they don't notify you, they're still in there as
They
a
are
voter,
still in
even
there.
though they may live out of state.
they are still in there unless they register in another state and we get notification, or if they fill out the blue card that we send out, for change of address or whatever, and a lot of times we don't get those back. But if they don't vote in 2 presidential elections, then we're able to remove them off the voter rolls, so.
So
it
I
has to
have-
be-
Like I said, I sent that mailing out, and I was really surprised when I got back 75 or 80 out of 7. 11, 12, 13%.
Yeah.
Is it
600 maybe, over a year ago.
over what it was a year ago? that back from you.
It's fine. That's probably the sheriff's deal.
Yeah, this is the sheriff's bill.
It's normally $6 to $8,000, 6 to 10.
6 to 10. So have we received all the product from EMP Shields? Or do you have any idea on that? Because we got the last check in here for 97,000, that's what was held back.
Who would know?
Well, Brad would know that.
Brad probably would be.
Would he know
Be the
anything?
answer. Need that. But, you know, part of that was for community buildings and everything else too.
Right.
Hey Brad, this is Angie.
Yes.
Commissioners have a question for you, if you have information for them.
Okay.
Hey Brad, do you know anything about the EMP Shield, purchases for the protection?
I know we're supposed to get some stuff for our switches, and what do you want to know about it?
Have we received product?
No, we have not. Not that I know of.
Okay, because we got a check here for the last, it would be paid in full for all of it.
I have not seen anything.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
thank you. Bye.
Give a check to Rhonda, maybe Bobby,
Yeah, you want me to see if he's available?
yeah.
Most of these are small items, Bob, but you know what that's for?
I don't know. Let's say.
That's all there is. That and that.
Hey Rhonda, do you have a way
I
of getting
have
ahold of
no
Bobby
idea.
to
I
find
guess
out?
I would have waited till you'll have to.
He's here, let me ask him.
Okay.
Bring Tom up. Is this Tom's?
I'm kind of surprised Tom in here today talking.
Who is it? Who is it?
I don't know.
I would bring him up and see, yeah.
What's the,
You don't know what that would be. There's one for $9.90, but the detail is not detailed enough to. The EMP, we haven't received that. We have one.
Yeah, the commissioners have a question for him.
Okay, I'll have him come up with.
Yeah,
I
okay, great.
know what it is.
Okay, Bobby will be up.
okay, thank you.
That is the, maybe. Put on a Visa card, so it should be.
Nancy, here's a check for MT Network coming out of ARPA to MT. Did we receive a second payment on that? Or
Yes.
We did receive a
Yes.
second,
Yes.
that was 700.
Yep,
We-
it's been a few weeks ago now.
Okay, I was saying last week it wasn't here, but it's here. And we're paying MT out of that.
I'm guessing that's probably what the total of the Visa bill was, but I don't know.
What's that, $9.90?
Call him up and ask him.
Angie down there could probably answer that.
You know, call somebody and ask them, because I don't know.
You wanna,
I can get her, yeah.
I do not know.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a total of several tickets there, but, cause there's 3 pages of small tickets.
I don't know. Somebody like, I wasn't with them, so I don't know.
I bet Angie could. I wouldn't mind having Tom give us an update on what his discussion is between him and Larry Goldberg work.
They're coming next Monday.
Goldberg coming
Next Monday? Okay.
Morning.
Let's let people get them all.
Yeah, we told them to get out of
No
here.
idea what that is.
Hey, Becky. We have a question on a bill. Is Tom available?
No, he's not here. What you got?
There was a bill, I think by Darren Provo for $990, credit card, and we don't know what it is.
That's my alarm sign to come.
Okay.
Angie's called bill.
She's not here.
Yeah, see the other guy. Eric, here.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna ask her, where's that bill at? See if I can find it on the credit card.
Bobby, the CMP shows 97,000.
Number there or anything.
Yes,
That would complete the county's deal, or, I mean, to my knowledge, we haven't received any product yet.
They started, 2 weeks ago, in Burlington and
Okay.
Neustron,
Okay.
and they still have not got to Lebo, Waverly, Leroy,
It doesn't,
the Rural Water District,
Kansas State University
The airport.
Cashier's Office.
or Sunset Middle,
Okay.
but they are actively deploying.
They're deploying it, okay. I just wanted to make sure before we
They'll call us
Yes,
back.
sir.
sign off 100% that we're getting service.
Yes, sir, I made them give me a list so I could check it off as they
Okay.
completed.
Okay. That's the explanation there.
What percentage do we have left?
This was 97. This would finish the 497.
And they had to build the product, so they went ahead and built all the products even without that, but,
Right.
at the time, we didn't have the money.
Okay, this is that last one,
Yes, sir.
last payment since we got the ARPA money.
We made a partial payment because we had not received.
Yeah, we paid 400 or something.
Yep.
Okay, so what's this invoice, ARPA Wave 3 to be paid from the ARPA fund to MT Network?
That is on, that's actually good news, so
Okay, thank you.
your,
49,000.
that broadband project, the commission did
66,000, yeah.
countywide, months ago, those are invoices we had didn't pay because we didn't have the second round of funding in yet. So we just got it
2 or 3 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago. But they are, just good news, they're scheduled to come in under budget. The commission approved $550, and, they're saying they're gonna finish the project at $350.
Wow.
What project?
For the broadband project,
Broadband.
the countywide broadband project.
200 less than they projected.
Yes, sir. I know, you never hear that, but
You don't get much good news.
no, you never hear anybody coming in under budget.
John, 2 officers attended drone training at PSC.
You know, once it said K-State, it almost sounds like it might have been a training deal.
Yeah.
So,
But other than that, there wasn't much.
what's the deal on that one? Is that, I mean, they haven't been installed yet.
They are being installed. They hit, what'd you say, Burlington?
They are being,
Neutron.
but
They've hit the water tower, lift station 2 through 9, Kelly Hall, power station, generation, and the county shop, and the recycling plant. No, they hadn't hit the recycling plant yet. And they have remaining Levo, Neustron, they're doing Neustron this week, Gridley, Waverly, Leroy, the community centers, the airport, and Sunset Manor. That's what they have left.
So, is this final payment?
That will be final payment, yep.
And are we gonna pay it before they get done? I thought we was holding it back because,
Well, we was holding it back,
Because we didn't have money.
didn't have anything.
In ARPA.
We was waiting on
because,
the ARPA.
our wait,
Yeah.
yeah, all right. Okay, that's fine.
Very well. Do you have something for us, sir?
I have a question.
We can stop signing stuff and get
When
you.
when are we spending money, and how is this jail project going to work? From the standpoint of, are we setting up a line item for it? So that we know exactly what we're spending? You know, are we transferring money, like I said, into a jail building fund, or whatever you wanna call it? So that's how it's going to, transparency-wise, be seen. But then again, when do we spend money? Because, you know, the bulk of what we have is in CDs. And so, if you're gonna start spending money when I'm not ready for it,
Not just gonna be poor timing, isn't it?
could be. And then also, I still like the local financing side, which is different than what Joe was saying from, oh yeah, they can buy the bonds. There's more, I think, oversight and making sure we're getting what we're paying. I know that, yes, they've done this for lots of folk, you know, built many jails around and they're good at what they do. But still, it's our money, and we need somebody paying attention to what is going into and how it's being spent. And so, from the way I understand there, it's, I ask for, you know, if I'm those guys, I'm the builder Larry, and it's, okay, I need, you know, $5 million. Well, what for? Doesn't matter, I need $5 million. Whereas if the banks are doing it, I don't know what kind of interest rate we can get from them versus this, but they definitely say, well, you need to tell me what you need $5 million to do. We don't just write checks.
Well, first of all, that's the commission's responsibility. It's not gonna be the bank's responsibility to say what the money is being spent on. The commission that's their authority to spend how they see it. It's not a bank's responsibility to say, no, I'm not gonna give you the money to do this to that project, because it's not the bank's project. It's the county's project. So.
And so one of you is gonna sit there and watch?
Huh?
One of you is gonna sit and watch?
I'm not. But,
Okay,
but somehow.
That's what I'm getting at.
We're going to have to appoint someone to do it that will answer directly to the commission to do that, to be the observer on this. And I don't.
Project manager, whatever.
And I have no idea how that was gonna play out.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah.
Well, those vouchers, when they come in, will they go to the sheriff's department and have Tom sign off on it? That they're, of course, we have the final sign off.
I don't know how you guys are gonna do it. I mean, they'll have to come to me eventually to be paid, but.
Correct.
But
to me, they ought to probably kick off when they come in and go to the sheriff's office.
Well,
Yeah,
then
you're gonna want-
then again, you just said, go to the sheriff's office for sign off, but we have the final sign off. So if he signs it and we don't approve it, then what you gonna do, not pay it?
Well, anytime a department head signs it, 99.9% we're signing off on,
But I think you're definitely gonna want itemized bills, because.
I think there's gonna have to be a project manager that's gonna have to sign off.
and it may be the project manager, his responsibility.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more money, but I think it's gonna be very important that we have a project manager.
Yeah,
I
we were
like the
talking about
idea of
getting
a
one.
project manager.
We were talking about getting one.
And anyway, it goes back to, are we gonna have a fund or a line item?
We definitely
That
gotta
needs to
know
get
where
set
we're
up.
gonna spend money.
And how much
Doubt
is
about
that?
it.
You know, we're pulling, you know, 10 million comes out of our reserves fund. 4 of it's coming out of the risk, man.
Yeah.
At what point in time can we move that into a one line item, and then all the jail products will come out of that one line item? That 4 million could be moved.
But some of that reserve fund is probably what you got in CDs and stuff, right?
Yes, there's not
Yeah,
just
That's the catch to it is, yeah.
$30 million sitting out, ready to be spent. That's my question is,
Yeah.
are we gonna have a line item, and when are we spending money so that I can see when my CDs and such are coming due? Cause I mean, there's some at the end of this month, some next month, some October.
I would say we
But
probably
there's
better
just
be pulling
assorted.
some.
I'll go ahead and get with the auditor. Now, I know, so a lot of the money that we've moved from into risk management has been from the general fund, some's been from the employee benefits fund. So we wanna be careful of just moving that money. It's usually when you move it from a particular fund, it's gotta go back to that fund. But, I'll probably need to check with the auditor on setting up the fund and how we go about properly moving things so we don't get in any kind of.
Deep water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Phil's gonna be here in 2 weeks, he'll be here the 22nd, so.
Is there a way you'd know, you could find out what is coming up at the end of the month and the end of next month?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Availability,
Mhm.
and what fund maybe it was transferred from?
No, my money, funds are just, things are earmarked. I have pool of money that is just, it's differentiated for that, but I don't have a CD for each one. So
how do
like
we-
at the
how
end of
would we
this
know
month, I've
that,
got
Angie?
$3 million, there's $3 million at the end of next month.
How do we know if it come out of risk management, how would you?
Well,
Basically, you just gotta leave enough in there to cover what was risk management put in and whatever else put in, right?
yeah, but we're gonna need to know, like, when the first payment's gonna come due, what's our first payout gonna be? We don't have a clue when that's gonna come due.
Yeah, what is the time?
Yeah, we kinda need a pay
line for
schedule
all
or
of this?
something.
There's gonna be very, very little expense probably in the first 6 months anyway.
But
We've
we
got
still
some
would
ti-
probably wanna
got some
know,
time to
'cause-
plan ahead, because, you know, they're gonna be getting bids for a year, it may be a year before we need hardly any funding for
It
that
would
project.
just be nice if somebody, either the architect
Oh,
or.
yeah.
That's what I wanna know, is when am I spending money? Is
Because
it
we
a
wanna
year,
have
is
it
it
available.
6 months? Yeah,
Because then if it's tied up, we aren't getting it.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee the architect wants money.
I'm gonna say, the architect, Joe, probably some of them, once it's passed now, they're gonna start wanting to collect some of them for what they put into it.
Mhm. Well, Joe's comes out of any bonds that are sent, but that goes back to the bank. If the bonds, I assume he wants sooner rather than later, so that way he's already tying up how we're gonna fund. And so we would have to start, like, if he gets them issued next month, well, then we start paying interest next month, even though we haven't built the thing for a year. Or even start breaking ground for a
It
year.
will be built for 2.5 years, so.
It will be finished in 2.5. I mean, we'll start, whereas if you have local funding, we haven't borrowed any money yet, so there's no interest drawn.
They're not gonna start building it, not wanna get paid anything for 2.5 years.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but the
Not gonna
bonds,
happen.
they're gonna issue $20 million worth of bonds next month, we're gonna start paying interest on $20 million of bonds.
I think we better start getting our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
think-
whereas local, if we don't need $20 million next month, then we're not paying interest on $20 million.
Because I will be honest, I think what we done, we pretty well ignored everything else and just, it was, let's get it to pass.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna do things, well, we better get busy doing things then, because it passed.
True story.
Barely, I mean, it passed.
I think Goldberg's gonna be here next Monday.
Yeah.
So that might be a good question, timeline, that maybe we could get with him and say, give us a timeline
Mhm.
of,
I sent an email, but I got nothing back.
okay.
So basically, you're just saying if we borrowed some money, or used money from the local bank, instead of starting the bond interest clock ticking, is
Right.
kind of what we're talking about at the moment, right?
Mhm. Cause yeah, if you do the bond thing, right, I guarantee we have a year's worth of payments that have gotten us nowhere. Because we haven't used the money, it's just there. We issue bonds, but we still pay interest on them. So at 5.25% on
$20
$20 million.
That's a lot of greenbacks.
I mean, we just spent $1 million plus without doing anything yet.
I'd say we got a lot to work on. In the very near.
Get your scratch pad, get your notebook, get down.
Mhm. So anyway, that's where I wanna make sure I have money for you whenever things are due.
Well, after Larry's here next week, should be able to give us a very good guideline on the funding that needs to be coming supposedly would be required, you know, for the next year, or maybe somewhat the whole project. There's gonna be a time frame in place, and Larry should be able to provide that to us.
Right, like I said, I sent emails over
If he's
there and
gonna be here
haven't
next
seen
week,
anything.
I mean, next week, we should be able to get some answers.
I'll shoot him a text message and have him prepare like a payment timeline or something.
Right.
If you can, I mean, it's all gonna be spitball, but, I mean, at least you kinda know.
You're right. Like I said, I earn more money on CDs than I do in the bank, so.
See if we can get some answers next week.
Yes.
Just so the commissioners know, when you issue these bonds, it's going to a commercial bank, not in Coffee County. They'll sit in, bond project funds, a trustee.
Yeah, not us.
We will get you answers.
Not our people.
We will get you
Okay.
answers.
Peachy, any questions?
No, just let us banks know when we can, you know, quote an interest rate for you guys to compete with the bonds. So, I know the banks have it, financing can be done with a lease purchase agreement or by issuing bonds. But the banks, I know our bank has the option of buying those bonds, which is different than doing the lease purchase agreement on the local side, just so you guys know.
Now, when you were here before, did you mention, you were actually speaking for all the local banks?
Yes, yes,
That,
citizens and farmers, last year
you guys coming
said-
together and
Yes.
doing this, not just
Yes.
one bank?
But my understanding now is since the bond passed, you have to issue some of it by bonds. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if you can now, if you have to issue bonds in a certain amount, or if you can, you know, have the bank bid the whole entire amount. I don't know that question for you.
Saban, is there an answer to that question?
On the bonding,
Yes.
I don't know it off the top of my head right now. I'm kinda looking forward to the meetings next week, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I don't know the answer to that right now. I know for the stuff that we provided to Bobby, just in looking at the properties, those were
You're
just.
talking about something different.
Oh, okay,
Oh, is it?
okay.
We will get you an
Then-
answer, Brenda.
Yeah.
Pardon?
We will get you an answer.
Okay,
Thank
because it's just not me,
We'll get you an answer.
all right.
I would rather our money stay in the county.
Oh, I agree 100%.
If it can be done.
If it can be done.
If it can be done at a very competitive rate, that's the
Right.
place for it.
Yeah.
That's the place for it.
I'm 100% for it.
We just need to be in touch with Joe and see what the requirements are.
Difference.
Mhm.
And then let us know, because, you know, I haven't had anything contacted to, you know, update our, you know, interest rate.
We may need to Joe may need to come in, and we can ask him additional questions.
Be nice for Joe was with Larry.
Well, I'm fairly certain Joe's gonna say, oh, it's gotta be bonds.
Yeah, well,
I think he'd be honest with us. If it can be done locally, I think he'd tell us.
I hope.
Yeah.
we can find out.
Okay. And then let me know who this person is, like the project manager that's gonna oversee this, so.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Because
We
it'll be
gotta
on the
find out
county
who it
level,
is.
right?
Hmm?
It'll be on the county level, like you're hire somebody from,
I would say.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
okay.
That's what Lynn County had. Was a project manager. And whether he was funded by the Goldberg, or funded by the county, I'm not sure where he's funded from.
I think somebody funded by the county would
Believe
be
me.
Oh, we
the
want-
best.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas, but I just can't. I gotta wait a while.
Okay, that's
We'll
all.
try to get, I'll get a hold of him and try to
We
get
will
some
get,
answers.
we will get you guys answers.
Tell me where you're spending my money.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Enjoy the cold front.
10 degrees.
Yeah. Mr. Jeff Byer.
Well, after that, this all seems simple.
Morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning.
Guarantee it.
I can't hear what says it's not simple in my mind, but hopefully it's simple to you guys. Just had kinda just wrote it down as an information exchange. So I guess my first question would be, Andrea gone, did you guys get anything from her email? Do you have anything on the consent agenda? I've got a couple of CP2s.
We
Yes, we
approved
did,
them.
we took care of those.
You got, those are taken care
I
of,
need to
okay,
And they're signed right there.
okay.
I need
That,
to sign these there, 'cause they-
that takes care of that.
You can have that whole stack.
Okay. Okay, I'll sign it. Can I do it when I'm done here?
Yeah.
Get that, okay. That takes care of that. Okay, I've been in contact with, Kilo, they're starting this week, Kilo Construction, and they sent me a bid for, 4 patches that we need done. 3 here in Burlington and 1 south of Waverly. I just got the bid from them last Tuesday, so it's not like I've been just sitting on these, lollygagging. But I brought a motion for you guys to consider. The total for the bid for the 4 patches was $23,322. So I broke them down into the 4 patches, and I guess I'm gonna ask if we could waive the purchasing policy as to the informal bid process. I've called Bettis last week, and I called APEC and asked them after I've seen this, they're not even interested in coming down and talking to me. The mobilization is a big deal. With Kilo here right now, this price, if they had to come back, would go up somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500 additionally.
Kilos here are gonna be here.
Kilo's here now, working in the city of Burlington, be starting our projects actually tomorrow, I think.
But they will do them while we're.
They'll do them while they're here, yes.
Already received a complaint for south of Waverly.
Just one?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the total for what's the project that we have them doing right now?
So, the project that they're.
For the county, what's their?
Okay, 11th Lane, Kafer back to 11th Road.
Right, and what's the total on that project?
Bob, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
300-some thousand, but I don't have that information.
Can these just be a change order to add them onto that project since it's the same company? And to me, it's a justified reason because they're here and he already contacted the other 2 and they said, we're not interested. And Kilo is here and the one south of Waverly is almost an emergency.
It's pretty, yeah.
I would do it as a change order to the contractor,
Okay.
if you can.
I'll ask them. It's not exactly tied to that contract, cause the locations that they're patching are not gonna be overlaid.
They're specific to the overlay.
It's a change order adding those to the project.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you could do that, I would think, adding those locations to that project.
Okay. So just handle as a change order with them and not worry about the motion?
No, you'll have to come in for, well, you actually need a
Well,
motion.
this is kinda time
You
sensitive.
needed a motion for us to approve the change order for $23,322.
Right. Well, I might need some help writing that. I mean, this is what I brought in. Move to waive the purchasing policy as to the informal bid process for bid cause, said cause being Kilo Construction was the only bid to submit a bid for the following asphalt patches. 11th Road, and Links Terrace, 50 square yards at $3,029. Links Road and south of 11th Road, 48 square yards at $2,907.84. Links Road and north of 11th Road, 243 square yards at $14,720.94. And Freefall Road between 23rd and 24th Road, 44 square yards at $2,665.52. All locations are standalone projects, fund to be paid for special bridge asphalt line. That's the motion that I come up with Friday. If you'd like to change that, on the fly here.
I don't know, I mean, I think it'd be simpler probably just to do the motion.
Yeah.
That motion?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I mean,
Either way, I kind of looked for some examples around the office. This was similar to something I found.
I'll
And I'm
move.
not trying to break purchasing policy, I'm not trying, but it is time sensitive, and I think it's.
Well, it's almost an emergency, like you say, south of
Yeah.
Waverly, it's kind of an emergency.
I will move to approve that motion. Whatever it is. I'll move to approve it the way it is. Does that look like an okay motion to you? Because he actually went out and tried to get 3 bids and couldn't get them.
Yeah, and those companies would verify, I mean, I was upfront with them, they would verify that for me if I needed them to.
Even if they came in at a separate time, moved in, it cost twice that.
Well, that's the problem,
Sure.
and they're,
I'll second the motion.
that's the problem, just mobilization for that small project, so.
Okay, so it's actually gonna be the general fund asphalt line item, right?
Well, if you'd rather do it that way,
Well, there's not, hold on, let me get my.
there is an
See what the
asphalt,
budget
there is
is?
an asphalt line on the
Okay,
special
so
bridge.
Is this a special bridge project?
Yes, they're crossroad structures that we've repaired.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
there is a line in
Okay.
special bridge for asphalt. It doesn't,
Okay.
it's not quite enough to cover that full amount. We'll just have to juggle
Okay.
some money somehow. Yeah, right now I feel like.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Bob's moved, Tim seconded,
I thought Don did.
oh, I thought Tim did.
Did you second it?
I was scared to hear
We did a motion at the same time I said, so I don't mean to.
Okay.
I'll pay credit for it.
Okay.
One of them in your district.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That was shocking.
That wasn't too tough, was it?
Sorry, no, but I was a little nervous about it. Wade and I talked quite a bit on Friday, trying to come up with something, so. Okay, I've got an email, last week from B&G Consultants, Brady. It emailed me quite a lengthy email about, 2 grant opportunities coming up for bridges. One's the off-system bridge program, and another is the, Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Program, which these are also kind of time sensitive too. Wayne told me this would potentially happen, where companies would reach out to us. They would like to submit a proposal on our behalf for these grants. There's no expectation. I mean, I talked to Brady, there's no expectation that if he got the money that he would get the engineering, but I think that's kind of how it usually works. So I was able to talk to Saban a little bit this morning, and we kind of agreed that we could potentially give B&G one bridge to look at for grant funding. It's an off-system bridge down around Leroy, 3rd Terrace and Underwood, I believe. It's right off the Goalpost Road on 3rd Terrace. The road comes off the curve where you go to Mr. Cross's.
I didn't think there was any issues with that bridge.
It's pretty old and pretty, that particular
It's on
program.
that east-west road there.
Yes.
It's on that small creek that goes down through there.
It fits more of the criteria that we've got 2 bridges rated in poor condition right now. That's one of them.
Okay.
So, we're giving him that one to look at and pursue. And then, Cook Flat, Saban, 4 other locations to look at for the, Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Program.
Is this a recommendation from Cook Flat that we give that one to BG? Because we're in contract, we're kind of in contract with Cook Flat.
Yeah.
We have to, so.
You wanna weigh in on that?
Yeah, I'll weigh in. I was,
Are you being generous?
I'm being generous, to be honest with you. I think that, I mean, my candid answer would be, I think there's plenty of work here to go around. I don't wanna sound greedy, just being honest with you. I think that this is one where they've done a little bit of homework on that one, so I don't see any reason why if they're offering to do this on your behalf, what we would want to do is probably review what they put together, but then we'll take the other 4 that are on the local bridge project, we'll look at those. I'll have our bridge inspectors, bridge engineers come down and put those applications together. I think it's just a,
Okay, if that's,
I mean,
for you, that'll work for me.
again, I think, when we looked at the program, you know, again, these grant programs, there's no guarantee that you're gonna get any of them, but the more applications we can get in the hopper, the better chance that you guys might have of getting something, so, and
That's kinda what
then,
we're thinking.
that's what we were thinking.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't really need a motion, I just wanna be, you guys aware that we're throwing that out there for those two companies and put that in.
We got a lot of bridges in the county, we gotta keep.
Yeah.
We gotta
keep
keep,
fixing.
and that's what Sable and I mentioned about this morning was, you know, we got a lot of bridges to stay after. So, just a quick one, Jesse, whole commission actually, but I've got this thing from Geotech that doesn't appear that was signed. This is for our contracted surveyor that come in. I've got the motion and everything, agreement for
Yeah, we did
land.
this here a while back,
Right,
right?
but he doesn't have a signed copy, and I cannot find a signed copy.
So you've got the paperwork
I've
where
got
we
the-
approved it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've got all that, I just,
Is there a motion that we approve it?
yes.
Well, this is not in the minutes, but this is a motion.
So that is a copy of the minutes, that's a copy of the minutes.
Oh, this is June 6th minutes.
We got June 6 minutes, can you draw yours up?
Item number 12.
I think we approved this.
Well, that's why I just wanna make sure it's been approved.
I think it's been approved.
Right.
And I just
Neglected
hadn't
to
been
sign.
signed.
Right.
What paragraph is that?
12.
We have based upon our commission county. Sign the agreement for the land surveying services by Geotech Inc.
I just wanna tighten it up, I couldn't find the signed one, I knew it had gone through, and since your name was already on the documentation, I didn't wanna sign it and send it off, so.
Good, sign.
Did you guys get the monthly waste summary in your consent agenda? I'll just pass that around if you guys care to see that.
Do I need the date on then? On that
I
date?
suppose it hurt, we haven't done any work with them, but.
You'd have to sign it today, we approved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, that's all.
I'll go ahead and take a copy of that if you don't mind.
No, that's fine, I'm just trying to clean up a little bit of stuff. I've got another one from Blackstone that there was 2 pages, I'll just sign that one and send it in. Okay, a question from an employee, is shared leave still available to use? There was some discussion in the last few months that was gonna change, has that changed?
Not
To
yet.
my knowledge, nothing.
Not yet.
Okay, so we just need to proceed with that as we have in the past as far as the paperwork and stuff.
Right.
And I think Andrea keeps track of the totals that we have in our department or whatever, so, and she'll be back the 11th.
She asked us about something here a while back, I don't know if it was your person that she was asking for, but I know that she had already asked basically the same question you did. But I don't know if it was for your person.
I have no idea, he may ask us both, I don't know, I just told him that I didn't wanna answer without talking to you guys, so.
Who brought in your large number of tires
That's a lot of tires.
last month? 441.
I couldn't tell you, Bar brings in a lot.
Cromartie, a bunch of them came from Cromartie.
Yeah, they bring in a lot, so, got some special issues. Apologized last week for Justin calling you, he called me, Justin Deatonbrock. Did he get a hold of you?
Yes, he did
Okay.
get a hold of me.
He was laying it out there for me, and I said, I understand all this. And 7 hours up there, I'd almost hopped in a truck and went up there, but we still good for waiting until we see that truck?
I told him, last I knew, he was trying to get a hold of the bed company so they could
They
shoot
sent
him
the pictures, and I seen you were CC'd on that,
Oh, he sent an email?
just this morning.
Oh, okay, so I was already gone then from
Yeah.
him, but basically, so the board can know, the Kenworth is pushing to get this truck off of their floor plan, so they're wanting paid for it. Well, Kenworth hasn't even seen the truck. It went from the factory to the bed factory. Kenworth hasn't seen the truck, the salesman hasn't seen the truck, nobody with Road and Bridge has seen the truck. I said, I have a problem writing a check for the truck that nobody's seen. I said, I was speaking my own personal, I said, heck, even if you get a picture to make sure it's the right color, or if it's a twin axle or a single axle or something resemblance, I said, get some pictures, get it to Jeff. I'm fine with it, as long as, because once the bed's made, once the bed's put on the truck, then it goes back to Kenworth, and it's PDI'd, make sure everything is good on it, and then it comes to the county.
And how do we know if it meets our specs?
That's exactly what I mean, that's what me
I mean,
and Justin been talking
yeah,
about.
there's a misstep here, probably by me and I'd say by Justin. Never thought about it. We've been waiting on this truck since May of 2021. And it went directly from the plant when it got done to Iowa, to Henderson, which before all of our beds from Henderson had been put on in Fulton, Missouri, the truck would come to us, then we'd take it to Fulton. Well, that step didn't get hit this time, to where we probably should have just had it delivered to us, looked at it, and then got it to Iowa. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a misstep or miscommunication here. I understand that they've got a loan on it, and I know they've lost money on this truck and everything else.
I can be sympathetic on their side as well. There was some increases, and we pretty much, they told you that there was $10,000 or $15,000 worth of increases on this truck.
But evidently
they ate, so I can understand their timely manner of wanting to get paid for this truck, because they're paying interest.
But then we also paid them more for the bed than what.
But see, that's still these two
different
separate
company,
things.
different company.
We're talking to Kenworth.
Mhm.
Different company. Yeah.
Are you satisfied seeing the pictures and maybe
the pictures looked okay. You're not gonna be able to tell every single thing.
That's that Kenworth truck.
Yeah, the Dodge we've seen, it's paid for.
Okay.
We haven't got it yet, so I don't, obviously, we're not gonna have a check around today. I mean, we could study those photos. There's an outside chance that, but I don't know. I heard it could be here by Friday, but I don't, just the pictures I've seen, it don't look like it'll be here by Friday. But we could study those photographs and revisit again next Monday if you want to. Because Michelle ain't even there to help me get a special issue check back up here before you guys leave, so.
Okay. Well, I can look at the pictures, you look at the pictures, we can talk.
I understand Kenworth
Has
money in it, but at the same time, I don't feel like that we need to have money in it, not even know what the heck, what it is. We haven't even seen it, haven't even know what it is.
Well, that's what I told Justin. I said, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. You know, on the county side, we write a check for it, it's our truck. You know, if it's got the wrong motor in it, the wrong transmission in it, the wrong paint, whatever it may be.
We write a check for it, and it's in Iowa, and it's our truck, and you wreck it coming down here, it's our truck.
That was another question that was asked. So.
Didn't we get this FOB here?
No, I don't, I'd have to go back and look at the documentations, I don't think
We didn't get it pick up, we didn't get it from delivery in Iowa.
It's probably supposed to be Fulton, Missouri.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Till they closed that plant down.
They did, and since then, they've opened it back up to some degree, but, it's just the whole convoluted process, waiting this long, and, you know, I'm trying to remember stuff from a year ago in May. I mean, some of it's on file, some of it's not, so. Just happened, it happened. I know it don't taste very good to them, and sure doesn't taste very good to us.
Well, one good thing about it, it's their factory, it's all their in-house. I mean.
No, I agree.
It's their own problem.
I agree. Yeah, we didn't create the problem. Maybe could have suggested they dropped it off here.
And I'm sure if something was wrong, it wasn't supposed, if it's turned out to be something that it wasn't.
They would take care of it.
If it turned out to be something that it shouldn't have been, they would take care of it, but it's just that you run that chance. I don't think they would do that. I don't think they would say, hey, it's your truck, Sorry, Charlie.
No,
They wouldn't do that. They would take care of it.
no, they would. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
But we might as well know it's what we want before we even get it, I mean, before we accept it.
Yeah, I mean, I keep having the back of my mind, if we don't see anything this week, and wanna revisit this next week, why can't we cut them a check less 10%? Or something to that degree where they can, if they got money borrowed against it, they can at least do that. We've got some satisfaction knowing
Pay 90% of it.
you don't get the rest of the money till we see it, and if we find something's wrong, fixed.
See, so Kenworth really doesn't have a dog in the hunt with the bed company. The bed company's
That's correct,
contracted
total separate. So they're a little bit at the bed company's mercy
They are.
now of that truck getting to us to see it.
It is. It's a two-stage problem.
Right.
The truck should have come here. The
Yeah.
truck should have been either at Kenworth or at the county
Yes.
to be viewed and PDI'd, whatever it may be, and then sent to.
Prior to, yeah. No doubt about it, but
Hindsight's
water.
20/20.
Is this an 800 or what is this?
What's that?
T880.
T880.
It's an 880.
T80.
Our previous ones, that's a good memory, because they were 800s. This is our first attempt at 880.
880 is the old T800.
Mm-hmm. They've been out for a little while. They just now finally made a stationary grill, which that's kind of a requirement to us to be able to put snow plows on. So before the grill, fold it out with the hood. So.
If they want their money, they need to get off the stick and expedite everything and make it move.
I'll agree with that, but they don't, like I said, they don't have any control over the bed company.
Yeah, the bed bid and the bed installation is something totally separate from what Kenworth and I'm still good if we can look at the pictures. If we can look at the pictures and it's 95% of resembles what it should be, I'm good with, personally, I'm good with going ahead and writing them a check for it.
We'll see what the week brings and go from there. We'll visit. To this point, I don't have, well, who knows what's gonna pop up this week. I know Saban's got some time scheduled for next week. I can come back, when he comes in, we can talk about it again. One more quick thing, I'll pass a picture around here. We ran into a issue last Wednesday. We were chipping and we had a shower pop up. About 4,000 linear feet of chip and seal got wet. That water pulled that oil to the top of our chip and seal process.
How many vehicles drove in it?
Well, they made me aware of it. I didn't realize it's quite that bad of a problem. I have zero complaints to this point from the public. So we stopped the process of chipping and we put AIC down on the top of it just as a mop, but it's kind of limited my repair process, because now I really can't get any oil. It just brought it up from underneath that rock, so I'm afraid that chip over time is going to come up, is going to pop up, and only time will tell. Right now what we've decided to do is wait and see at the end of our season what it looks like, and then if we feel like it's advantageous to us to go ahead and put another layer of chips over that, we'll do that. If not, it might be a next year repair. It's not going to be like it's rough as a cob or anything. It's only 3/8 inches thick anyway, but it's just something we're going to have to watch.
I think it'd be good to just wait and see what happens.
That's all.
Instead of just tear it out.
That's all we can do.
Let's just wait and see.
There's not a great way to tear it out either. So if the traffic pops it out, then we'll know. By the time we get the rest of our chip and done, we can go back. If not, first time we put a snow plow on it, that might be the time that tells us.
Spit it all in the ditch.
We find out.
Potentially. So we're just gonna play it slow, and we've got it fixed where people aren't driving through oil. So.
That same thing happened down at Leroy 3 years ago when it chipped in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite to that extent, but that path there for 50,000 feet was black.
Right.
But it looks like this might be a little worse.
Yeah.
And it didn't create any problem at all. I mean.
Right. It's just like those chips, you can take your foot and move them if you want to hard, easy enough. So just be aware that's out there. If you hear anything on it, why, feel free to let me know, and we'll address it sooner if need be. That's all I've got. Do you guys have any questions?
Get the chipper up and going good?
We're still using the Anderson County.
Still
I mean,
using it.
we've had a little bit of,
You had trouble with that one day.
We locked the brakes up on it. It's not allowing us to move quite as fast as we can with our machine between the 6 weeks of rain, beginning of the season, that slowed our patching down, and, you know, we had a week of rain on and off. We was working in between a week or so ago, and it's just been, seems like extremely slow, and the guys are hitting it as hard as they can.
Anything on our machine yet?
Still in the process of working on that. They say it's a DEF head, and you can't get one. The one we bought with the tank we went ahead and purchased one with the tank and everything. Wasn't even close. There was no way for us to fabricate it to work with our machine, so we're kind of back on square one there. But the guys are working on it, coming up with ideas, and I'm pretty certain we'll get it before long. But it could affect, end of the year could affect what we're able to do fog seal wise. I mean, I feel fairly confident the weather holds, we'll get our chipping done, but that fog seal is kind of weather dependent also, so that could be affected.
In this hot weather, I'm not so sure going slow is not a good deal for the guys, on the guys.
It helps, I mean, it helps. Most people have got, they're protected, either by shade or air conditioners or something, so, okay. That's all I have. Can I get a copy, did you get the copy of that?
I've got it, I have got it.
So we can get copies in a minute? Okay.
Starting waking up in Coffee County on Monday mornings, or
It's,
do we need to get you a house down here, find a house for you? We'd love to have you in the county.
well, you know, it's, I'm getting used to it. So, it works good for a good time to get with these guys, and with you guys being Mondays, it's, no, I'm up, walking the dog at 5:45 anyway, so it's not too bad. For morning coffee on the way, so.
There you go.
Send it to him, so it doesn't really matter. Thank you.
You got anything for us today?
No, I didn't. I mean, Jeff, I did ask him to put me on your agenda next week, and I wanted to just kind of sit in because I knew he was going to report. We met this morning. My plan is, right now, kind of initially we'll meet, I'm planning on coming every other Monday. You know, then we meet with these guys first, kind of get a report of what they've got going on, what's their plan going the next couple of weeks. So when I do come to you, I can fill you in on what the group is planning on doing. And then in the in-between weeks, if Jeff needs to come and report, he can do that. We had a good meeting this morning, just real quickly going through the 5-year capital program, and particularly with this call for bridge applications, we kind of figured let's go through that. So the game plan, because those are all due on September the 2nd, so we want to get those moving. I needed to get with Bobby on some of the other things we've got going with you guys, so it worked out good to come on down. And Jeff he's calling me, I'm getting, you know, and which is exactly how I expect it to be, and I told him don't hesitate to call. And you know, we've got folks that are smarter than me in my company too, as you guys know, that if there's a particular area that needs somebody else's expertise, I'll get it to them, but they can run point through me for now, and we'll go from there. So I appreciate. I'll be back next week to kind of fill you in a little more of what we've got going on.
You're working on that Beto Junction sales tax deal, aren't you?
Yeah, he had us do. Bobby had us do initially a traffic impact study up there, because the truck stop was kind of wanting to know if if it builds out to X amount of land, expands, what kind of truck traffic will that bring to that area? We did that work. I know that he presented to TA and the other truck company. He would be the one, he was getting the votes in place for the district. So I believe that that's all been taken care of. And then we're just kind of waiting at this point, for him to tell us what comes next.
Right,
But,
right.
so I think that the traffic work we did, is a sufficient, piece component for a KDOT analysis. We kind of got something put together that, we'll absolutely stand behind. It's proper engineering. But then with Highway 75 and Interstate 35, eventually we'll want to present something to KDOT. So, but I think we're set up to do that next.
Very well.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. I'm gonna head on.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Good to see you. Mr. Wade? I would assume, other than this, I think we're in roundtable mode.
It's your call.
This works good for me.
First one, just some updates. Last week, Steve Prasco was here, walked around with the sheriff, took measurements, went through the entire courthouse just to get measurements so he can put together an estimate on what it would cost to secure the courthouse. I think that also included the downstairs lobby. I had him work with the sheriff because the sheriff knows the ALIS training needs of the building as well, and what things would look like, what from a law enforcement perspective would need to be done should there be some sort of situation. So he'll be sending that to the county at some point here in the near future, I would imagine. So I don't know if you have any questions on that. Second thing is, as everybody knows, the jail question passed, what was it, 57-43. So it passed, and now there's gonna have to be some momentum moving forward on what the next steps are. I think Goldberg, I've heard from Goldberg, Serrano, the bonding company, I forget what the guy's name is, but I think at some point in time, one or all are gonna get on the agenda and talk about the next steps moving forward. So that'll be at some point in the near future. Tonight, I'm gonna go and meet with, I think Tim and Don are going to Iola to the transmission meeting. I know Anderson County, Allen County, and maybe Bourbon County, and Crawford County are all invited. I know I'm almost certain Allen County and Anderson County will be there, but I don't know about the other counties. So I'm gonna go and be a part of that meeting as well.
On that basis, wouldn't we want to be a supporter of that, since Wood Creek is involved and it's going to continue? That is a good boost to keep Wood Creek online.
Yeah, I think this meeting is about what, and I don't know exactly, but how they plan on moving around in each county is my guess. The road use agreements and that type of thing. I know Ryan from Road Bridge has sent me an email wanting me to look at some of the road use agreement paperwork that has sort of been presented. So we need to do that. And Coffee County's in a position where their roads are probably some of the best in the entire state, and we need to make sure it stays that way. So whatever they're going to bring in, if they bring in anything into Coffee County, then there needs to be some protection for Coffee County and its citizens. That's the way I look at it. So.
I really don't see what they'd be bringing in unless they're gonna bring in some big transformers, but I wouldn't think there'd need to be any transformers in Coffee County over there.
No, cause it's, transformers are already in the
Yeah.
plant.
I mean, they're really,
So all they're gonna be doing is probably bringing, H structures, some of those new big single pole.
yeah, I mean, there's weight wise on those, I wouldn't think.
And those
it'd
are
be-
all gonna be on private property.
Right.
So that I don't know. It's an unknown to me at this point, but I'm sure it'll become a lot more clear. I'm not sure where the board is, and this may be an Angie question too, but on getting an idea of moving forward on the payroll software side of things. I know CIC has a module, we talked about some others, but when you wanna get a good idea and a beat on what you wanna do moving forward with that, because I think that will, in my opinion, solve a lot of different things when it's incumbent upon the employer to enter their own data and keep track of their own information. So there would obviously have to be training for that, but I think you open up a whole new world when that occurs.
As far as time stamp type pay, is that what you're saying?
Well, the payroll software, so you can enter, instead of submitting a timesheet,
Right.
you do it online, or you go into a module, you have a computer available to do it. Now, the time clock is what you're talking about.
Mhm.
And the two, in my opinion, are two separate things, but they can be together. And I'm sure the company that provides the payroll software would also have a time clock module as well. So it's just getting that information, and maybe Angie and I can work together and see what companies are out there that can do that. I think, you know, if CIC has that, then
They do, and I had tried to get in contact with the people where they
PeopleSoft.
or PeopleSoft that you use, and I could never get anyone to call me back. So then things kind of got put on hold because the election started coming up. So, but I can start in again on that and try to get something going. I don't know if you guys really decided yet on if you were okay to do that, or based on the survey. I can't remember kind of where things left off. Yeah.
You know, from my standpoint, I mean, accountability is a lot. Accountability, not that I don't trust any person, it's just accountability.
And not have to enter all this. The cost savings.
Time savings.
Time.
Time is money.
Exactly.
And, I'm 100% for it, and I'm 100% for time cards, or these little electric deals, like the little deal Bob's got to get into the building, a little swiper. You just go by and scan it like into a motel room. Doop, 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 done. Billy's logged in for today. Oop, Billy's logged out.
Yeah.
Done. It's accountability for everybody.
years ago, I worked for a company where you got a attendance bonus when you were on time, and back then, if I was 1 minute late, then I lost the attendance bonus for that entire week. I'm not saying that's what should happen here, I just, they rewarded being on time and leaving on time. I would suggest whatever companies, whether it be CIC, PeopleSoft, or whoever else, you get their literature and then have the demos run here so you can see what they do, and I'm sure they have demos that you can access probably online, or they can have somebody from CIC come in and say this is what we do and how it would work, so that you have an idea. I'm not going to go buy a car without test driving it first. You know, that doesn't make sense in my mind. So I would encourage that.
Well, with your reward idea, I think that is good for the simple fact, if you're a minute late, you're not gonna get your full paycheck for that day. you're gonna be deducted. So if you're here on time, you're getting a reward, because you're gonna get your full paycheck. We shouldn't have to reward people for being on time and doing their job.
I understand.
Well, the other thing I would like to see is your department heads that are on salary also be subject to the time clock. That way, if somebody wants to pull up and see what Johnny over here, department head, that's on salary, I wanna see how many hours he's working a week. Or Susie, or whoever. I mean, I think that's just, I'd be glad for everybody. If they're going through payroll, everybody. Elected, all.
So that means us too.
I don't have a problem with that.
I walk in here at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll swipe a card wherever I want, wherever I can. Or if I come in here throughout the week, I'll swipe a card. That way people can see, well,
I think, I just think if the commission expects that from others,
you ought to be able to
they
do
ought
your
to be
job.
able to do it themselves.
Yep.
Gotta hold yourself accountable like we're holding everybody else.
I have no problem with that.
If we're gonna do it, I have no problem either.
I have no problem.
I think you end up in something that can be a little tricky, I'm guessing.
On the elected side?
Well, on the elected side, and then some department heads that go off-site.
It shouldn't matter.
I understand. I mean, so, as an elected, we'll use me for an example. If I get contacted at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm reviewing search warrants before they go to a judge, I mean, or if I go out to a crash site or a fatality, I mean,
That's an elected side though. I can
Okay.
I can see a little bit of different on the elected side, but department head side, the salary, accountability for your time.
I understand.
That's what I'm going on.
Okay.
And I would even be for elected, but you just gotta figure out the.
But you mentioned elected, so
I did,
trying to-
I did both. But if there's a way to figure out for elected side, I'm good with that too. I don't have a problem using my phone, don't matter to me, I don't care. You know, it doesn't matter, but,
Right.
I mean, definitely department head.
We should, I mean, anybody, if you're not elected, that'd be, to me, that's the place to start. Help with the non-elected.
And like I say, if it becomes an issue, I don't have a problem with it myself.
There's a reason some are elected and some are not.
Mhm.
That's, so, I mean, we can't lump them all into the same, really, you can't lump them all in the same place.
You
There's a
can't,
reason
but-
for it, but I know what you're saying. But if we expect them to do it, then we better be expecting them to do it too.
Exactly. That's just kinda like the drug screen. No problem with it. As far as I'm concerned, you're getting a county check, you're gonna be clean. That's the way I look at it. Black and white.
I get it.
And I wish it was that way for many other things.
What's the target date to get on real time? Is there a way, after we do some more discovery, is there a way to get on real time, start
It'll depend on
January 1st?
It'll depend on their schedule.
I understand.
I think when we talked to them before, I think they were a couple months out, but depending on how many other counties are going on, we'll just have to find out.
It sure be nice to be on, but
Yes, it is.
January 1, get a fresh start.
Yeah, that would be
Get a fresh,
ideal.
Perfect time.
get a fresh
January
start,
1.
get a fresh start and everything.
I think that's another cost savings.
I think it would be too.
Be perfect timing, because everything is at the end of the year done, we just done the end of the year.
Yeah, it would be nice to have it all a fresh year and.
I'd say somebody just pick a date and do it. Nobody wants to, we're gonna have to.
Right
Yeah,
now,
I think January the 1st, next year. I'll pick something for you, you want somebody to pick, you said.
but that last week in December, you got 2 holidays and we got 3 working days, so.
That'd probably be about the best time to do it.
To me, it'd be
You're not gonna have very many people around that last week.
Be the best time to implement it.
if we can get together enough information, get all the discovery done. that January 1st, only 4 months away, it could be here before we know
But if we gotta, we're shooting, if you shoot for a date, we need our shot, shooting for a date. We've got, at least you got a date to shoot for. If it doesn't work, then that's fine, but at least you're shooting for something.
it. If you don't shoot or have a target date, it never will happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you have anything more, Wade?
Not for today.
Not for today. Angie, got any goodies?
The only thing I have right now is, does September 12th look okay for you guys to do the employee appreciation picnic? We do every year, hamburgers, hot dogs, after the meeting. I usually do it that weekend right after OK Kid.
Is that September 12th?
Yeah.
Works for me. Unless something blows up and I can't be there.
And then next week's the canvas. We'll go over everything.
Next week's the
Next Monday.
canvas. That was the only one I might be in question on.
On the 19th as well?
No, the 15th is the canvas.
15th is canvas.
Of this month.
This
Of
month.
this month.
Is that it?
That's all I have.
Tim?
Nothing today.
Just a lot of healing?
Yes.
Can you go back to work? Are you able to go to work? Lift?
Not lift.
Not lift.
Nothing over 5 pounds.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say.
Bob, do you have anything?
I'm still adding stuff to my list.
Adding stuff to your list? Of things you wanna talk about, or things you don't wanna talk about?
Either way, I don't have anything.
Don, you got anything?
Well, we got our employee handbook last week. I'm halfway through it, and a lot of it, of course, duplication, what's already got in place, but then we got a target date. Have we got a target date on that, Wade, or
I think,
Angie, to try to get, or need to have Christina come in a couple weeks and?
so I think once you review it and you determine whether you like it, you don't like it, you want something changed or not, then that will move the needle that much closer to being done. So I would suggest maybe next week, the following week, after everybody's had the chance to look at it, digest it, come back here, decide what you want to do, if anything, and then at that point, we'll move forward with the Christina part of it.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion on where we are.
If you had an opportunity to look at it, Wade?
I've looked at multiple.
Of course, I know you've been working on Christina, but.
Yeah. So if you have any questions or you see anything, let me know.
I don't have anything else.
I got a voicemail from Goldberg. I'll see if I can read what it says. I don't know if he was calling wanting to be called or what. Nothing of importance. I don't believe I have anything. We just got these road and bridge vouchers and checks to sign. Sorry, Tim's election didn't turn out like we hoped it would, but the person coming in to fill your seats got big shoes they're gonna have to fill as well.
Oh, thank you.
And they're stuck with me until January.
We'll make leaps and bounds in between now and January if we can.
Oh, the church project.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an addendum that's on the county website that deals with the asbestos part of it. It has the new dates, that was done not last week, but the week before. So those deadlines are at some point this month.
Is there a recommendation from Blackstone on how to handle that?
Yes, and then the report that they provided is also attached. So it's included there, and everything's on the county website, and it shows up as an addendum or whatever, but I forget exactly how it's worded, but everything that needed to be added was sent to Andrea, who then sent it to have it added. I think Rhonda does that, adds things to the RFP page on the county website. That way, anybody who has been watching that, wants to be a part of it, they have equal access and opportunity to make modifications for that bid.
Those bids are due to be in here by the 26th of this month, is that correct?
I believe that's right.
Yeah. And we're opening the bids on the 29th?
Yep.
That's less than 3 weeks away, so.
I bet we don't have very many to open.
Not now, there's for sure.
That changes.
Yeah, it changed the whole dynamics of that whole deal, I'm afraid.
Well, but knowing that ahead of time, they can take that into account. They can add that extra, whatever it is.
I'd have came in and demolished it and worried about it later.
Mark, did you go camping this last weekend? It was probably warm enough for you, right?
It's warm enough for me not to go camping.
No doubt. No doubt. Who is doing that sales tax deal up there at Vito? Is that Joe?
Joe's doing it, yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe.
Do you have anything else for me? Any questions?
I don't think so, Wade.
Okay.
I don't think I do.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
So,
How's the jail? Is it full?
you know, the last time I looked, would have been the night of I really analyzed it, was the night of the last jail meeting. And there were 27 total inmates. A number of, I think 5 or 7 were farmed out to other counties.
7 that one.
Of the 23 or 24 that were in the Coffee County Jail, if I'm successful in doing my job as a prosecutor, 11 of those will go to prison. So I'm not gonna talk about any details about any case, but in my mind, if that's the number of people that I'm gonna try to send to prison if I'm successful, then that should tell you about the inmate population in Coffee County.
But how long will that take? 2 months?
How many?
2 months?
I think that was
2 years?
I think that
6
was
months to a year.
So it depends.
You might have room for them by the time you get them all done.
Well, yeah.
I know there's 2 or 3 that have already been sent, ordered to go to prison, and I think we're just waiting on DOC to give the green light for them to be transported. And each one of those are people who have been convicted of possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine, which is a big problem in Coffee County, all the surrounding counties. And methamphetamine is everywhere around here. And that's unfortunate. But I want people to realize that in Coffee County, if you come to Coffee County and you sell drugs, then there's gonna be a significant consequence. And we have very good law enforcement they're very proactive, and, you know, you don't wanna come to Coffee County and sell drugs, I'll tell you that. We have, 2 new canines. They're both Belgian Malinois. If you know anything about Belgians, they are high drive dogs. Alex Smith has one and Donnie Anderson has one. Alex already been to KHP canine school, and Donnie will go at some point with his dog. And those dogs, if you've seen them, they are phenomenal specimens for dogs. So.
What do we do with the old dogs?
They were retired. I'm not sure where they are now.
I mean, somebody adopted them.
Yeah, I think so. They were taken out of duty. Probably living their best life. So, if you've seen the 2 new dogs, Iron is Alex's dog and Dino is Donnie's dog. They're both the same breed, but they come from different lines, so they look very similar, but their heads are a little bit different. 70, 75-pound dogs, and if they had to, they'd easily take down a 300-pound person. So.
I'll never find out.
No, not either.
Unless I'm watching it.
They're amazing dogs to watch. Amazing dogs to watch when they do their, you know, their dual purpose. So they do protection, or apprehension, drugs, and tracking.
Very good dog to have.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very fortunate here in Coffee County with the law enforcement that we work with, and what they do and how. You know, I can't say enough good things, which is.
How long did it take to train a dog to do that before we get them?
Before the county gets them? I mean, they have to be a certain age, and some of them go through maybe a preliminary training. I know one of the dogs had been worked with by the military some, and then you get them and they've got, I think, the basics, and then they go to, I think it's a 10 or 16 week canine school with KHP, but they're constantly in ongoing training. I mean, you have to have that. You can't just train and then.
Like going to boot camp.
I mean, there's training, but there's some severe training before they ever get to us. So.
Some of them. I mean, some of them you don't want to have bad habits. Right. It just depends on where they come from and what they've gone through. So.
Very neat.
Okay. So, and the jail board is live all the time. I know Mark reports about the people who are in jail on a regular basis.
If you didn't even have a paper.
How did the last jail meeting go? We haven't discussed that, have we?
It went good because it passed.
Well, yeah. I guess that's.
I think there were some
some questions.
It was questions, yeah.
Some, I would say some questions that weren't necessarily directly related to the jail. I mean,
But you gotta remember, some things happened between the one prior to that and this one. Things commission done, and some people wanted to try to drag them all together.
Oh, gotcha.
Gotcha.
As always, I mean, somebody can call, get on the agenda and ask questions in this setting and do it in front of the entire public. So, and I would always encourage that.
Yep. One way to air it out.
Yep. You know,
If they don't wanna do that, then it's just making,
and if somebody wants to see what's going on in the courtroom, it's the same thing. Courtroom's open, public, outside of very few cases that are closed because of the nature of the type of case, but outside of that, it's open. They can come in and see what goes on there anytime. I invite that as well. And if somebody ever gets a jury summons, that people don't look forward to those, but that's one of the most important civic duties anybody can ever perform. To be be a fair and impartial juror of somebody accused of a crime.
why did they, you might be able to answer this, why did they do away with hand serving those jury selections, jury papers, instead of, why did they get away from that?
You mean, why do they just show up in the mail?
Yeah.
I don't know. Everywhere I've ever been, they've always come in the mail.
They used to be hand served.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you have something hand served and somebody can say it was personally served, maybe that has a additional layer of saying, yeah, this person got it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when I first came back to Kansas, I ended up receiving a federal jury service notice to serve in Detroit, which that would have been interesting, and it came in the mail. So then I had to go through all the phone calls to try to say, I'm not a resident, I can't do it, and that was pretty easy.
You'd think it wouldn't matter for a federal trial.
Yeah, I think they wanted you to be within that area.
You think federal trial, or federal jury, you'd live anywhere.
Yeah.
You'd think.
So, well, that's all I got, unless you got something for me.
Kinda upset we don't have any, executive sessions.
Yes.
2 weeks in a row.
I know.
That's your update.
No, we had one last week.
Had one last
Yep.
week, didn't we?
Yep.
This is not the one we were opposed to.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Wade.
Yep, thank you.
Nobody has anything else, I don't have a problem with getting out of here.
Good call.
We'll adjourn at 11:37.
Hit the switch. I said you hit the switch.
Guys, have a good one.
We go through the local